tulong po ito. Kasi nung una, ako mismo is naging biktima ng sakit na to. And napakahirap po pag wala nang mapaglagyan ng mga tao natin, lalo sa mga frontliners. Kahit na sabihin natin asymptomatic, ito kasi ay sakit na nakakahawa pa rin. Dahil very contagious nga. No? So, on behalf of Team Calamba, maraming salamat po.
I will oblige myself to maintain a high standard of morality and professionalism. I will respect the customs and traditions of the police service. And I will live a decent and virtuous life to serve as an example to others. Please be seated, Sir John.
Special staff, police commissioned officers present, non-uniformed personnel, and non-commissioned officers. Welcome. We are still in the middle of celebrating this year's Police Community Relations Month, and one way to celebrate our gains in our peace and order efforts is to give due recognition to the people and organizations who serve as support team in the realization of the goals and objectives of the Philippine National Police in general. Effective policy proved that a mutual and positive result-oriented relationship between the community and the police is a great foundation on the success.
Is hereby presented to Architect William Tan Tino Jr. for his support in the construction of isolation facility worth 428,411 at Panahon for a covered floor. Same recognition is presented to Manny Pacquiao Foundation Incorporation to be received by Honorable Tubo Garcia Asque, Councilor of Bayan, Batangas, for their support in the form of 2,500 pieces of swab test kit worth 15 million pesos. Same recognition is also presented to San Miguel Corporation to be received by Mr. Mark Leandro Mendoza for their support in the form of 5 boxes of coffee, 30 boxes of Pure Foods chicken, 19 boxes of Pure Foods luncheon meat, and 30 boxes of Nutriban. All this given for their acts which manifest immeasurable effort to secure the welfare of the general public.
William Tati Jr.
Good morning, everyone. Brigadier General Vicente Danao, Brigadier General Colonel Rudolph Dimas, Colonel Cesar Casiwan, Reverend Father.
The EQFs that we built over the lockdown has been one of the most meaningful endeavors of our careers. And so I think today I'd like to share with you guys the story of why we have built all these facilities and what we built them for. The EQF program was an initiative that was started around March 24. If you can remember, during that week, I think most of the hospitals, they were putting out memos or letters saying that they were already at capacity, they could no longer accept patients. So that night, I was talking to a friend of mine, Dr. Danao, and we were asking ourselves, how best we could deal with this pandemic. And the reality is that there was no cure, and the only way we can really help out is we have to provide enough quarantine spaces for everyone so we can securely distance ourselves from each other. And so the next day, Glenn reached out to two of his classmates from AIM, Major Halwage and Major Banjo Badayos of the AFP. And it was really through them that we were able to consolidate this idea because we needed the logistics and the manpower from the AFP for us to be able to, get the program going. If you remember during that time, the entire Metro Manila was on lockdown. I think Luzon was on lockdown. I think to the point we couldn't even find hardware like nails or anything actually. So we had to use the trucks of the AFP for us to be able to actually get the materials. We had to talk to our friends in the industry for them to actually, we were talking to the owners of Matimco, for example, for them to open their warehouses to allow us to pick up the wood for us to be able to actually build these facilities. And so really during this time, we thought to ourselves, we were looking for donors for, I think that was March 26th. We were looking for donors, we were calling all our friends. At the same time, we were doing the drawings to finish the facilities. And at first, the hardest part was really getting volunteers to come here on site. Because everyone was scared at that time, if you remember. And so we really had to, call all the young people na, okay, matakot, come forward. And so I think that was really an experience for us as architects because unlike, like our healthcare workers or, our men in uniform, we are not frontline workers, right? And so I think we really had to call people up to get them to move, to come forward. And on March 27, we actually kind of like got fully funded for the project. And we thought we were going to build 4 projects initially. Our idea was for us to be able to build prototypes for maybe the LGUs or other institutions, to build the rest. And so on March 28th, we started with the first facility, which was in the Manila Naval Hospital in Fort Bonifacio. And in 5 days, we were able to finish it by April 1st. But then we quickly realized, by that time, we had about requests for more than 20 facilities already. And so again, we had to shift our mindset. We had to get enough manpower to build. To give you an idea, what we wanted to build was something that can be built in 5 days. And so we needed about 20 workers on each site so we can finish it in 5 days. And at the peak of our construction work, we were building at 28 different sites. So we had about 500-600 people, and of course at that time going around Manila was a bit difficult. And so our program was really to provide these facilities to each hospital so that we could augment and maybe at least add, if it's a hospital for 100 beds, you add 16 or 32 beds. That's 20-30% of their capacity. We built about 74 facilities ourselves, and that's about 1,200 beds. And then our friends, in different islands in our country, we have this in Kamsur, in Davao, in Cebu, as far north as Pangasinan, in Legazpi, and some other islands. I think we have about almost 3,000 beds in this country. And so I think it was really almost like a communal effort. And it really made us feel that for us to have a hope of taking care of this pandemic, that everyone has to come together, and we have to play our own roles in our community. And so we were really hoping that by making these plans open source, we actually get the plans out as far as we can. Even the government in Singapore, they built 3,000 of these facilities using our plans. And so we really felt very thankful, that we were given this opportunity to actually fulfill our roles. Because if you remember at that time, I think especially a lot of the builders or artists even, we were making face masks, face shields, all those acrylic things. But syempre, as architects, as builders, we wanted to build it. And especially when you hear that there's not enough place for everyone, we wanted to fulfill our role in society also. And I think it's also right that a lot of the facilities that we built are actually for our men and women in uniform. So we've built quite a number of facilities for the AFP and PNP. And I think this for us is a way to assure the people who serve that there is always a place for them. Because at the end of the day, that's really what we needed. We need to have the hope or the assurance that we are going to be taken care of. And so we have to have adequate facilities to at least serve the people who are in the front lines. And so I think a vast majority of our facilities are being used by the AFP, the PNP, and if not them, actually the healthcare workers of the various hospitals. But on a bright note, I think today we are looking at our numbers in terms of the pandemic, and the numbers might not look as rosy as we hope they would. For me personally, I think the brighter side is that this pandemic does not choose between the rich or the poor, right? The richest country in the world has bigger problems than us. And what it means is that we cannot say that we do not have the resources, but rather I think as a country we can just come together and help each other out. And dyan naman magaling yung Pilipino. I think the spirit of bayanihan, of helping each other, and just caring, I think that has shown that it's something that is a strength, of our community. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you, and good morning again to everyone, and God bless.
That document of our guest of honor. Sir, on behalf of the Philippine National Police, particularly Team Calamba, kami po ay lubos na nagpapasalamat doon sa facility na ibinigay ninyo. Actually, kayo po yung pinakaunang nag-respond when we needed most itong facilities na to. Napakalaking tulong po ito. Kasi nung una, ako mismo is naging biktima ng sakit na to. And napakahirap po pag wala nang mapaglagyan ng mga tao natin, lalo-lalo sa mga frontliners. Kahit na sabihin natin asymptomatic, ito kasi ay sakit na nakakahawa pa rin. Very, very contagious nga. So, on behalf of Team Calamba, maraming salamat po sa ayudang ibinigay niyo sa kapulisan. Maraming salamat. Palakpakan natin.
And to Architect William Tan T. Jr., Principal Architect of WTA Architectural Design Studio, for his invaluable support to Police Regional Office Calamba as guest of honor and speaker during the Monday flag raising ceremony, in line with the Pandemya Police Community Relations Month celebration. Given this July 20, 2020, at Proper Lane Multi-Purpose Center, Camp Vicente, Calamba City, Laguna, signed Police Brigadier General Vicente Jr., Regional Director. Token will also be given to our guest of honor speaker.
Thank you.